What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I want to introduce you to my very latest acquisition. So it's actually been a while since I bought a watch myself, and one of the big reasons for that, as I unbox my new Ulysse Nardin, I've actually had this for a little while, but I'm going to give you the full unboxing treatment. The reason that my watch purchasing has slowed down, look at how I'm going to get rid of the vacuum, is because on a lot of days, I wear my Apple Watch, and wearing my Apple Watch means that, I don't pull out my other watches because, it's just so functional. We have like this suede booklet here, and this is where all the paperwork that you need comes with it. It's actually kind of like a passport book. It could be very useful. But you can actually there's a little card and all of the stuff that you might expect. But one of the things that's kind of interesting about this limited edition Ulysse Nardin is that it's got the information there, and it's signed by, or a facsimile of, by the CEO of Ulysse Nardin UN, and we've got all the books and manuals. There's the card, you can put it in that sleeve, but we don't need to see all that, but keeps it, make sure that we're all official. And then here's the watch itself, and it's not overly presented. Sometimes you get a really nice big lacquered box, but we get this, and kind of matches the book that you get, but it's actually really intentional. You'll see the kind of this black antique vintage like leather and this orange side stitching, and that's because the watch itself has that same color scheme and really reflected right here on the watch band. But more than anything else, you can see that we have orange, oops, got fuzz all over it, orange all over the dial here. And when this watch came out, I didn't get it right away, mostly because of the price point and because I wasn't really, like I said, buying a lot of new watches at the time. But as the days ticked by, I decided, man, I really, really like it. It spoke to me. Now, this watch actually came, I think, in two versions. I've only seen two versions, but in some reading, I heard there was a third one, and I've never seen pictures of it, but so I don't know if that was kind of a change, but it comes in like this black, which is more like a charcoal, if we can get in there, that dial. And then one comes with, I think, like a white, kind of an off-white, cream-colored enamel dial. And so they're just kind of the reverse of each other in some ways. This is a black dial. It's not truly black, as you can see, but it's really nice with Arabic numerals, which is really what inspired me about this, because Ulysse Nardins with Arabic numerals are kind of rare. They are a little bit old fogey to me with a lot of the Roman numerals. And as I showed you my other Nardin, the Marine Chronometer, it had Arabic numerals too, which is really what turned me on. Now, this version, which is actually, I think it's the Marine Chronometer Military, but this is the Torpilleur, I think hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, version. So the case is very similar, but what's interesting here is I think this, the bezel up here, which is a coin edge and kind of sticks out from this little kind of bowl-shaped case, is actually a little wider, and that's really what I liked. I love the fact that this is also pretty rare in the Nardin world because it's a 44 millimeter case, which makes it quite a bit larger than a lot of the other Ulysse Nardins out there. And my other one, which was like a 41 or 42, wears nicely, but it was always just a little small for my taste. Now, I do have like a 7¼ inch wrist, and you can see here this strap does not leave a lot on there. You can see the kind of the beautiful, I think this is just bead blasted stainless steel and the UN on there, but really nice. I mean, the leather feels amaze balls, slightly padded. You can see painted edges on it, side stitch right there up top. Kind of, it has a more traditional style lug design on this, which is nice because on my other one, even though it was a rubber band on it, to get the actual rubber band that fits is crazy. It's like a $400 band, so when I replaced it, it was kind of annoying. But on this, you'll have a little more traditional band. So you can see the spring bar in there, and you can get, any band that you want, and this is stamped with UN on the back there. Again, look at the texture on this case. It is very heavily bead blasted. You can see that the material is the same up here, but then it's shaved down, machined down, and then we have a Torpilleur boat, which is like a little destroyer that shoots torpedoes out of these deck-mounted tubes. And so they were very instrumental in hunting down U-boats in World War II. And there's a lot of military-inspired watches, because that style, it's a little more casual, and it's kind of in vogue at the moment. You see my Bell & Ross. That one was inspired by World War I believe, the Chronometer. But military watches are very utilitarian, easy to read, kind of simple, and that makes them really attractive. You can see all the limited edition stuff around here, but you can tell that this is not like a titanium finish, which also has a similar look. When titanium is kind of milled, it has a little bit of a gray look, kind of a bead blasted look. This doesn't have it, but you can see here the lug and the nice coin edge. And I also love on these that they have a plate on the side with the limited edition number here, 185 of 300. Now, that's where this is not misleading, but this is 300 of the black and orange version. The white dial with black numerals is also 300. Now, that 185 on the side here, which I think Louis Moinet does like a side plate like that as well. I love it. You can see the little screws there. It's polished. That's nice. That 185 is on the dial here, right there, but it's unread on both models. So it's in that sub dial there, and it's red, and it kind of stands out a little bit, but you can tell what number you have right on the dial itself. Now, I'm just going to kind of go in that dial. You can see how sunk deep down it is. You have obviously a nice sapphire flat crystal right up here, and we have the broad leaf-like hands. Very nice contrast. They're kind of this bright cream color, and that's because I'm not sure if it's super luminova, but you can see all the hands will have it. But even the little pips at the hour markers. And one of the things I said in my other Ulysse review was that, man, I have never seen lume as good as I have on the UN watches. I don't know what they do to it, if they just layer it on or something, but they absolutely, look dramatic. Even in like lower light, they really shine, and they lume up really well, and they're outstanding. So I will give them credit for that. We do have a little screw down crown here, so I just screwed it back in, and as I want to show you here, you just unscrew it and then pops out, and then I can wind up this UN caliber 118 movement, I believe. And so I will tell you, the UN 118 movement requires a lot of winding to get it to wind up, and I've heard 50 or 60 winds. Now, this 118 movement is pretty ubiquitous in a lot of the UN watches, and the difference with this movement is that they all have this subdial, this inset seconds hand here, and you can see that we have a little texturing back there, a little railroad track. It looks very nice. CW means Christopher Ward. That's the watch that they rebadge these as. I'm just kidding. I think it means chronometer watch. So they are all certified chronometers by COSC, and which is what you'd expect, because Ulysse has a long history of producing fine chronometers, super exacting, super accurate watches. They've won many awards for it, and the reason they embrace this maritime history reflected here is because they were actually used for navigation on a lot of boats, ships maybe is the right word. And so you use them with a sextant to calculate lats and longitude, and so they were prolific there, kind of like Ball was in the railroad industry, which is why they have RRs on Ball watches. So you can see that sweeping hand right there. But they also have a very big seconds dial here. Now, I do want to say, because I've read in some places that people have some annoyance with this because of how big it is, and you can see that it almost intersects the watch hand fulcrum right there and kind of bisects the 6 down here, and so people kind of are irritated a little bit by that. I'm not sure why. I like that it's big, and it seems, because it's almost taking up like half of the dial, it seems very balanced to me. So anyway, I don't know why people get upset about that. But the other version of this watch will have the power reserve indicator up here. And I think it's like a 72-hour power reserve indicator. So it's really nice. Now, one of the things that I kind of miss on this, and I get because it's a military-inspired watch, is down here, you can see how the seconds dial is sunk. And if you had the power reserve indicator, that'd be sunk in there too. And Ulysse Nardin does a really cool thing where they kind of chamfer that edge, usually with like gold or a high polished metal, and it just looks really great. It's really hard to see in pictures, and I don't think a lot of times we give credit to Ulysse for doing just a lot of beautiful detail work. But when that edge has just a little bit of metallic shine, it's really subtle, but it really pops, and I really, really love it. You know, in terms of really small details that they do amazing, you know, check out those numerals, right? So they're not just orange numerals, and it's the same on the white dial, but these are orange with like a black beveled edge, like a gloss black edge. And so that helps kind of frame them up. It kind of gets a little glint off the light because you can see how they're 3D, but it just, especially with that high gloss finish, what it does is it just gives it a more refined, high quality look. And not only that, they're not exactly beveled equally all the way around. So you can see that the edge on this side is a little bit thicker inside the 9 there on this edge. That gives it a little bit of a three-dimensional kind of comic book look. So even though they do have a little bit of depth, that actually gives them a little bit more of an illusion of depth. And you can see the 185 is silked on there too, so it has a little bit of depth and curvature. But that's the kind of detail that these Ulysse watches I just absolutely adore. And so it's pretty cool. You can see here we've got a coin edge crown here, the UN and the anchor on it. And the other thing that this watch is missing that this movement will support is a date window, so they don't have that. Now, one of the beautiful things about this movement is that it obviously supports that, but, as I just give you a little wrist shot here, I don't think that they've just hidden it. So what I actually heard is that they actually modified the movement to get rid of that stuff. So sometimes when you have watches that support a date wheel or a date window, you know, you crack them open, you look, and that date wheel is still in there. Now, I don't think that's on here. I think they've actually taken out the power reserve indicator hardware and the date wheel as well. Man, that looks good. 44 millimeters. I was super stoked to see that size on this watch because, particularly because they just don't get usually very large in the Ulysse world. Like I said, 41 millimeters, which is a fine size, and I've had it and I've really enjoyed it. But, you know, to go up to a larger watch, I think the Maxi Marine is like a 44 millimeter, but it's just so expensive. And, you know, to be honest, again, I think even the Maxi Marines, some of them have Roman numerals. I'm just not into that. So I was really excited to see a 44 millimeter with Arabic numerals and kind of a vintage style. And it doesn't scream like high luxury. It seems more casual. But back to the movement. So what I think they've done is they've actually modified the movement in here. And there's no peekaboo exhibition window here to see that. But the Ulysse Nardin in-house caliber 118 movements are really beautiful, and particularly the lobe. So I want to actually see if I can remove these, looks like 6 screws here, pull off the back because this is my watch, and show that to you. All right, I think I got the screws undone here. We'll find out, and I can just lift this off. I want to be careful about not really touching the movement. Now, this movement is really, really interesting in-house, and one of the things that's interesting about the Ulysse Nardin brand is they actually built in-house movements for a long, long time. And then in the 80s and 90s, when we were having the quartz watch crisis, what they did is they actually stopped building their own movements, and then at some point moved to ETA-based movements. And then ETA, being part of the Swatch group, said, hey, we're not making our movements available to anyone. So that created another crisis. And so UN bought, it's a short-named company that was making really high-quality movements. And so they bought them and brought them in-house, and now they build a couple of their own movements. And this is kind of the key one. And the thing I really like about this, you can see here, is that the cam, the lobe here, is just really, really cool. It's got a anchor kind of shape to it, like an enameled logo right there, and then you can see there are 2 anchors flanking it. So that's a good sign that you've got a real watch here. And then I'm not sure if I can show it to you here, but what also makes this movement really interesting is they use something called Dimasil, and it is basically a diamond covered ceramic jewel, I believe, and it's completely frictionless. And the beauty of that is that the watch really doesn't need servicing. In fact, I'm not actually sure if the Dimasil piece actually needs to be lubed up at all. So, you know, from a maintenance standpoint, the UN watches, UN-118 right up there, maybe more trouble-free and maintenance-free than a lot of other watches. So obviously behind this big plate, we can see the escapement and whatnot, but you know, I would have loved to have the back behind a sapphire window, but we just don't get that. But really, really beautiful, some perlage there. I love the blue screws. You know, a beautiful piece of hardware that we're not going to even see. Like you can see that backing right there, that's all perlaged up. So pretty cool. 6 screws, just take it out. You need a small screwdriver to get those suckers out there. But like I said, it's my watch. I would never really open up a watch that's on loan to me, but I wanted to show this movement because nobody's ever taken a look at it. And like I said, I don't see anything in here. It's going to be a little hard to see anything anyway, but you know, like the date window and all that stuff. I think this movement is not just a phone it in, slap the movement in there, just hide the features that we're not using. I think this is actually modified from the other 118 caliber movements. So I might be wrong about that, but I believe that's the kind of detail work that you can expect from a watch company like this. So there it is, a look at the Marine Chronometer Military Torpilleur watch. I really like this. Like I said, I really like this brand. One reason is because it's a pretty high-end brand with an in-house movement, which satisfies a lot of watch guys. And the thing is, it's a little off the beaten path. So as opposed to getting something like a Rolex, which you could get, you know, a nice Rolex for this price. It's kind of like my Maserati. It's not super flashy. It's not kind of the quintessential, hey, look at my watch kind of watch. You have to be a little bit in the know for this Swiss brand, and that's what I really like about it. It's not just kind of, you know, hey, look at this and know that it's a good watch. If you're a watch guy, you might say, sit up and notice it. So I really dig this. Now at $8,000, it's certainly not a giveaway watch, and for as few complications as it has, you know, some people might say, well, you're getting a whole lot of feature set. And I don't think that's really the point here, is that you're just kind of getting a watch that can function as a, you know, formal and a casual, and is an everyday watch. And I really love the finish on it. And again, it's a little bit outside of the primary offerings for Ulysse Nardin, and I just really love this brand and really fell in love with this particular watch. So if you want to pick it up, or if you want to check out the white dial too, maybe that's more your thing, to have a little bit brighter look, certainly check out the Ulysse Nardins. I will put links to some really good deals on Amazon in the description below, where you can pick some up, all different sizes and styles. Check it out. Peter Ron Panda, out.